Hi, it's easy. This is the day I want to talk about. It's the day I realized I'm actually failing the climate crisis worse than an active climate change denier. January 18th. 3 things happened on that day. 1, Fridays for Future held a pretty public protest in Germany. 2, a friend texted me a message saying, since I was the journalist in news, could I please explain what was up with these kids and why climate change was still a thing? Number 3, an editor sent me an email asking about our plans for the coverage of the birth of the royal baby. All of these things are very common. I lead the video team at T-Online, and we cover news. We plan events. My friends think I have the inside scoop and ask me about stuff, which is usually their biggest mistake. So what I knew on January 18th was, if it concerned the royal baby, I had that topic covered. I knew everything about it. Climate change, protesting kids, not so much. I knew they were protesting something, better measures, something, skipping school, something in that area. So we would cover the protests. We would maybe send somebody down there to talk to these young people. And basically what happened was my mind went to that place where it goes, oh, I hear climate change. I hear climate and change in the same sentence. I go like this. Because don't get me wrong, I realized climate change was a problem. I knew it was happening. I knew it had to be stopped. I also felt very superior to all those politicians who obviously couldn't distinguish between weather and climate. It just wasn't my problem. I wasn't a scientist. I wasn't a politician. Heck, I wasn't even a science editor. I'm just a journalist in charge of video. My list of problems already covers who took our camera and used it for what and why is it gone. So climate change is other people's business. But I decided to dig a little deeper because I wanted to be able to answer the question my friend sent me. And that's when things started to unravel. Because it turns out, while I like the memes about politicians who use a cold winter to deny global warming, if you'd asked me if I could explain the difference between climate and weather, not really. Turns out, I felt very secure about the fact that climate change was happening, it was man-made, and denying that was plain stupid. But the real arguments climate change deniers use, I had no idea. Debunking them, even less. Turns out, I'd never really fully considered the role journalists play on this topic. The way we use language to frame it. The way we can create a false balance by giving room to scientific deniers. Turns out, I was actually failing the climate crisis worse than an active climate change denier. Because at least they cared enough to deny it. They put in the work. They made YouTube videos on it, and those YouTube videos got watched. Me? I didn't care. Not really, not enough. So in order to answer questions, I decided to change a couple of things. And these are the things I decided to change. Get started right away. Reframe the language we use. Create trainings for social media managers when they discuss these topics. Get in an expert every month to talk to my team so they feel secure when talking about these issues. I have to get my facts straight. Because if I don't understand at least part of what is happening, I can't use that in my day-to-day life, and in my day-to-day job, and I can't find new ways how we can report on this. Because, and I'm sure a couple of you guys know this as well, people don't care about climate change. It leads to them feeling very uncomfortable, and it leads to this, ugh, not me. I'm not clicking on that, I'm not watching that, and that's the cycle we have to break. I also need to understand the other side. What are the argumentative strategies that climate change deniers use nowadays? And are we talking about that? How do their networks work? What is their strategy? Because believe me, they have one. Most of them do. And it thrives on people like me and my indifference. Most of all, I decided I have to accept the fact that it is my responsibility to report on the climate crisis. I'm not a politician, I'm not a scientist, but I am a journalist. And I have to report on a burning planet. So no, this was never meant to be a talk against covering royal babies. It's just to talk about how I wish I already had a plan as well in place as I had on January 18th for the birth of baby Archie.